Hello and welcome everyone. All right, let's talk about Lovable AI deployment now. Deployment is simply the process of moving your app from the Lovable AI preview window out to the web for the whole world to see, use, and potentially pay for someday using a web hosting service like Netlify or Vercel. And this is where Lovable AI really impressed me and where I think it stands out from the other solutions I've tried out there. So I strongly recommend you keep watching till the end. You'll be glad you did. You'll learn how to deploy your Lovable AI app to the web for free, add a custom domain name to it, and finally, how to set up a professional development workflow that lets you safely test new features without affecting your live users. Let's dive in. You can deploy Lovable AI apps for free through either Vercel or Netlify, which are both very similar to each other, but today I'll be showing you specifically how to do this with Netlify. The best way to do this with Netlify, in my opinion, is to first copy your Lovable AI project to your own GitHub account. It's really easy. First, sign into your GitHub account in another browser tab, or sign up for a free GitHub account at github.com if you don't already have one. Then once you are signed into your GitHub account in another browser tab, go back to the Lovable tab, click on the settings widget right here, and click on Connect to GitHub, which will pop open a dialog to install Lovable on your GitHub account and to give it access to your repositories. Once you do that, return to the GitHub section in the Lovable.dev settings menu, and there will be a button here giving you the option to copy your project to the GitHub account you just connected. I've already done that here, so you can see the link to my private GitHub repo is here. And now I can navigate to that repo in my GitHub account and see all of the code for my Lovable AI project here in GitHub. Now, whenever I make a change to my app using Lovable that results in a working preview, Lovable AI will commit and push that change in the code to my own GitHub repo right here. And you may be wondering, if your GitHub repo is private, will your project still be public on Lovable? Yes, it will. You cannot avoid paying Lovable for at least the starter plan if you want your project to be private. If your project is not private, anyone will be able to see it here under the latest tab and can even copy it at any time by clicking the remix button to create a copy that they will own. Even after you have copied your Lovable AI project to a private GitHub repository, Lovable AI keeps a clone or copy of your repository on its own servers and then makes it public unless you pay them and make your project private. Come on, stop being cheap. It's only $20 for the starter plan. $20 to essentially add a junior software developer to your team is absolutely a no-brainer. And in the interest of full disclosure here, I liked Lovable so much I did become an affiliate for them. So if you use my referral link I'll put in the description and then purchase a subscription, I earn a small commission at no cost to you. If this video is helping you with your Lovable AI deployment, please consider supporting my channel and clicking my link in the description before you sign up for Lovable, even if it's just for the free plan, as it shows me you found this information helpful. Thank you. By the way, back in the Lovable AI settings, you can rename your Lovable project or GitHub repo before or after it gets copied to your GitHub account by scrolling down here and clicking on Rename Project. But now that my Lovable project is on my own GitHub repo, deploying to Netlify is very easy. Netlify integrates tightly with GitHub, so I suggest you make sure you are still signed into your GitHub account here in another browser tab. Then navigate to netlify.com and click on Login or Sign Up for a free Netlify account and use your GitHub credentials to log in or sign up. If you just signed up, Netlify might automatically direct you to a page to deploy your first project, and if it does, feel free to click on GitHub from there, or if you end up back on the dashboard somehow, click on Sites. If you already have sites like I do, then simply click on Add New Site here and click on Import an Existing Project, and click the GitHub button on the next page. If you don't have any sites, Netlify will make it really obvious how to import a site from GitHub. In all cases, you will have to authorize Netlify to access your GitHub account, and then you'll be able to select which repo you want Netlify to access, or just let it access all repos on your account, and then click Save. Then the repo should show up here, and if you click on it, you should be able to configure all of the settings for deployment. Netlify normally detects all of the settings from the config files in your repo, so you shouldn't need to change any of these settings. The only thing you should need to do is to pick a site name that will be used as a subdomain for your Netlify deployment and click check availability to make sure it's available. Note, this is the URL where your app will be deployed. Then scroll to the bottom and click deploy. I'm not going to do that because I already have deployed this app, but what I will do is go back to sites here and click on the GigaSend site, deployments, and then trigger a deploy so that you can see what will happen when you click the deploy button. You'll be able to monitor Netlify's deployment logs in real time as it deploys your site. When it's done, assuming it was all successful, you can come up here and click Open Production Deploy, and you will see your site is deployed on Netlify right here at this URL for the entire world to see. And this will all function exactly as it does in the Lovable preview window and connect to the same Supabase database if you're using Supabase integration, and everything just works. Now, your mileage may vary, but my experience with Lovable AI deployment using Netlify in this way was very smooth, and I think this is really cool, a game changer for me personally. And notice, at no point have I paid for anything yet. Netlify doesn't start charging you for anything until you exceed the free plan's limitations, such as bandwidth or build minutes. But what about ongoing development? How does Lovable AI work with your GitHub repo? How do I redeploy after I've made changes? And how do I work on and test deploy new features without disrupting live users on the latest stable version of my app? Well, keep watching because things get even better from here, and I'm just so happy with the way that this tool works. Back in the Lovable AI editor, I can still use the tool exactly the same as I did before, except now I can go into settings, and under GitHub, I can add and select branches I want to use for development on my private GitHub repo. Notice I've switched back to main for this demonstration. And as an example, I'll totally waste a message and ask Lovable to do something really stupid like modify my hero tagline from gig work elevated to gig work elevated with 2 periods after it. Lovable will make the changes, and as long as the code works, shows up in the preview window of the editor, Lovable will now commit that change to the main branch, which I can verify by looking at my GitHub account, where you can see here, it said it made a change to the source folder to update the hero tagline. But I can also go into my Netlify account, and I should see that Netlify detected a change to main and automatically initiated a deployment of the change. As soon as it's done, I can go to the production deploy and see that my changes went live automatically. But I really don't recommend developing on the main branch, especially if your app is live with actual users on it. Also, because if you let Lovable commit to your main branch and trigger a deploy on every commit, you are going to burn through your free Netlify build minutes and bandwidth much faster. This is not a problem with Lovable. Just go back into settings, create a development branch, and switch to that. You can see here, I've created a branch called Lovable.dev. Now, all of the changes we make inside Lovable will be on the Lovable.dev branch and will not get deployed and made live until we merge a pull request. To demonstrate that, I'll prompt Lovable, never mind, change it back. Lovable will make the change, which I can preview in the Lovable editor, but now our Netlify deployment will remain the same and no build will be triggered. Once we are happy with our work in the Lovable editor, we can initiate a pull request from GitHub to deploy the changes by going to pull requests and click on new pull request. Here, I will select that I want to merge the Lovable.dev branch into the main branch. It'll show me the changes that were made, and I can click on create pull request. GitHub says we can merge the pull request automatically, except a pull request will trigger a preview deployment build on Netlify that is different and separate from the main deployment. Once the preview deployment is done, I can click here and then click Open Deploy Preview to preview the changes. Notice it says Deploy Preview 4 and the periods are gone. Now you can preview and test your changes fully before taking them live to the main branch. Once we are happy that the preview is good, we can go back to GitHub and click on Merge Pull Request, type in a comment about the merge if needed, and then confirm the merge request with main. Now we don't want to delete the branch right now because we want to continue to use that as a development branch for Lovable. The main branch will be updated, which will of course trigger a production build. Under the deployments, we can see it merged the pull request. The deployment took 23 seconds, and it's published. Now, if you're an experienced developer, you might be as excited as I am because you realize this is best practices for developing in production. But we're not truly in production until we have a custom domain name for our site. Netlify makes this really simple though. Just click on Site Overview here, and you will see now that your site is deployed, we can move on to step 2 and set up our own domain name here. We can either buy a new one through Netlify or use your own domain name from a third-party registrar. Click on whichever one works best for you and follow Netlify's instructions to set it up. And finally, your app is now truly in production with your own domain name and everything. But there is still one huge problem we still need to solve. Some might call it the elephant in the room. The only problem now is that it doesn't matter how amazing your production workflow or your app is if you can't get it in front of the right users who will actually appreciate it and recommend it to others. Fortunately, I have discovered the most reliable way to get your app in front of exactly the right users, and it's in this video right here. If you don't see a video here yet, please subscribe so you will get notified when it comes out. I hope this video helped you with your Lovable AI deployment. If you still have any questions about it, please leave a comment and I'll try to answer them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.